Hey, welcome back to Native Echo Podcast. I'm Harper, and today it's just me. No co host, no back and forth, no structure. Just a real conversation between you and me. And I like these episodes. There's something honest about them. No one to bounce off, no one to laugh with at the right moment. Just me talking to you directly, which means I have to actually mean what I say. So let me mean it today. And before we get into the main topic, I want to say something that I come back to in almost every episode, because I think it's important to say out loud. This podcast is not just about English. Yes, we're speaking English. Yes, you're listening to improve your listening skills, to pick up vocabulary, to get more comfortable with natural spoken English, and all of that is real and valuable. But the bigger idea here, the thing that drives why I do this, is something I call boost your life in every direction, not just your grammar, your thinking, your habits, your time, your decisions, your energy. We want to grow together in English and in life. That's the whole point. So today's topic fits perfectly into that idea. We're talking about time, specifically, wasting it, and more specifically, what it really means to work hard and play hard, and why that phrase is more useful than most people realize. And then I want to spend real time on something that I think is one of the most important things you can pay attention to right now in 2025 and beyond: artificial intelligence, AI, and how following what's happening there could genuinely change your life, no matter what you do, no matter where you live. Let's start with time. I had a moment recently that stayed with me. I was sitting with my coffee on a Sunday morning, one of those slow, quiet mornings where there's no alarm, no urgency, and I was on my phone, scrolling, reading, watching short videos, the usual Sunday morning thing. But at some point, I looked up and I realized an hour had passed. An entire hour. And I genuinely could not tell you one specific thing I had learned or felt or gained from that hour. It just disappeared. And I thought, okay, this is the problem. Not social media, not my phone, not technology. The problem is that I wasn't present. I wasn't choosing. I was just drifting. And I think most of us drift more than we realize. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you should never sit with your phone on a Sunday morning. That's not the point. The point is the difference between choosing to rest and just defaulting to distraction. Those feel similar in the moment, but they're very different things. When you choose to rest, when you decide, I am going to sit here, drink my coffee, do nothing for 30 minutes, be offline, be quiet, that's real rest. Your brain actually recovers. You come back from it feeling something, refreshed, or at least genuinely relaxed. When you default to distraction, when you're not really resting, but you're also not really doing anything, you come back from it feeling strangely more tired, like you used energy but got nothing in return. You're familiar with that feeling, I'm sure. 2 hours on your phone and somehow you feel worse than before you picked it up. That's the trap, and it's one of the most common ways people waste time without realizing it. Now, the phrase work hard, play hard. Most people hear this and think it means work a lot, then party a lot. Go out, have fun, go big in both directions. And sure, that's a surface reading. But I think the real meaning, the one that's actually useful, is about presence. Full presence in whatever you're doing. When you work, be fully there. Not half working while half checking your messages. Not sitting at your desk while your mind is already thinking about dinner. Actually there. Focused. In the problem. Doing the thing. And when you rest, be fully there too. Not half resting while half feeling guilty that you should be more productive. Not lying on the sofa while your brain runs through your to-do list. Actually resting. On purpose. With permission. Work hard means you bring your real attention and real effort when it counts. Play hard means you actually recover, actually enjoy, actually disconnect. Both matter equally, and they make each other possible. Real rest makes real work possible. Real work makes real rest feel earned. The word I keep coming back to for this is intentional. When you're intentional, you're doing something because you decided to. You chose it. You're not drifting into it. And there is a profound difference between a day you chose and a day that just happened to you. Let me be honest about my own experience here. I am not perfect at this. I have days where I sit down to do something important, and within 5 minutes, I've opened 3 other tabs, replied to a message that wasn't urgent, looked at something I didn't need to look at, and now I can't even find the thread of what I was originally doing. It's almost funny how easily it happens, but it adds up. Over a week, that fragmented attention costs you more than you think. You feel busy, but you haven't gone deep into anything. You've touched many things, but mastered none of them. And at the end of the week, you're tired without feeling accomplished. That's a bad combination. So, one thing I've genuinely started doing, not just reading about, actually doing, is naming what mode I'm in before I start. Am I in work mode right now? Then the phone goes face down, notifications off, one tab open, one thing at a time. Am I in rest mode? Then I rest without apologizing for it. I go for a walk without a podcast in my ears. I sit outside. I read something just because I want to. I don't check email. I don't plan tomorrow while I'm supposed to be relaxing. It sounds simple, and it is simple. But simple is not the same as easy. The habit of splitting our attention is so deeply trained into most of us that doing one thing at a time actually feels strange at first. Like you're missing something, like you should be doing more. But that feeling is the problem, not the solution. Okay, now I want to talk about something that connects directly to all of this. Because there's one area right now where you genuinely cannot afford to drift, where the cost of not paying attention is real and it's growing every month. And that is artificial intelligence, AI. I know that word gets used a lot right now. I know it can feel overwhelming or like hype or like something that's only for tech people. But I want to talk about it plainly and honestly because I think it's one of the most important things happening in the world right now, and most people are still treating it like background noise. Here's the reality. Every single day right now, there are significant new developments in AI. Not every month, not every week, every day. New tools are being released. Existing tools are getting dramatically better. Things that were impossible 6 months ago are now easy. Things that used to take a team of people and several days can now be done by one person with the right tool in a couple of hours. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now in 2025, and the pace is not slowing down. It's accelerating. And the gap between people who are paying attention and people who are not, that gap is growing. I want to be very clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you need to become a programmer. I'm not saying you need to understand how these systems work at a technical level. I'm not saying you need to quit your job and become an AI expert. I'm saying something much simpler. Stay curious. Use the tools. Experiment. See what's possible. Don't look away. Because here's what happens when people look away from something this significant. The world moves on, and suddenly you're playing catch-up. And playing catch-up is exhausting and demoralizing in a way that staying curious never is. Staying curious is actually energizing. You feel like you're part of something. You feel like you're learning. Playing catch-up feels like running after a train that already left the station. Let me give you some concrete examples that are directly relevant to you, because you're here learning English, which means you're already the kind of person who invests in themselves. If you're learning English, AI tools right now are extraordinary. You can have a full conversation in English with an AI at any hour of the day. Not a scripted conversation, a real one. You can ask it to correct your writing and explain why. You can ask it to give you 10 example sentences using a new word you just learned. You can ask it to role-play a job interview in English and then give you feedback. You can ask it to explain the difference between two similar expressions in simple language. The quality of these tools has reached a point where they are genuinely useful. genuinely accurate, and genuinely personal to your level. The barrier to practicing English has never been lower. If you have a job, any field, AI is either already changing how your work is done, or it will be soon. People in marketing are using AI to write first drafts, generate ideas, analyze data. People in design are using it to create visuals in minutes that used to take hours. People in customer service are using it to handle routine questions so they can focus on the complex ones. People in education are using it to create personalized learning materials. People in finance are using it to analyze information faster than any human team could. I could go on. The industries where AI is having no impact are becoming very rare. And here's the thing. The people who learn these tools now are not being replaced by AI. They're becoming more valuable. They're doing more, faster, with better output, with more creativity, because they're spending less energy on the parts of their job that are repetitive and more energy on the parts that require genuine human judgment and creativity. That's a competitive advantage that compounds over time. If you're a student or building something or trying to develop a new skill, the learning resources available to you through AI are unlike anything that existed 5 years ago. You can get explanations of complex topics at exactly the right level for you. You can get instant feedback on your work. You can ask the same question 5 different ways until you understand it. You can practice skills with an infinitely patient tutor that's available at 2 in the morning and never makes you feel stupid for asking a basic question. So, why aren't more people doing this? Why are so many people watching AI develop from a distance instead of getting in and experimenting? I think there are a few reasons. One is familiarity. New things are uncomfortable. Learning a new tool takes energy that you don't always feel like you have. It's easier to stick with what you already know. Another reason is the overwhelm. There are so many AI tools right now that it's hard to know where to start. So some people don't start at all. And a third reason, honestly, is fear. Not fear of the tools themselves, fear of feeling stupid while learning them, fear of not understanding, fear of falling behind, even while trying to catch up. But here's what I've learned about uncomfortable feelings around new things. They're almost always worse in your imagination than in reality. The first time you use a new AI tool and ask it a real question and get a genuinely useful answer, that moment changes something. The fear drops, the curiosity takes over, and then you want to try more. So, my advice is simple: pick one tool. Just one. Not all of them. One. The most widely used one right now is probably ChatGPT, but there are several excellent ones. Pick one, open it, and ask it something you actually want to know. Not a test question, a real question. Something you're curious about, something related to your work or your learning or your life. See what happens. That's the beginning. Then keep going. Spend 15 minutes a day experimenting. That's it, 15 minutes. You don't need a course, you don't need a certification. You need curiosity and consistency. And over weeks and months, you'll build a real understanding of what these tools can do, and more importantly, how they fit into your specific life and work. This connects back to everything I said about time. Don't waste this moment. Not just your Sunday morning, this moment in history. We are at one of those rare points where things are changing fast enough that the choices you make in the next year or two will have a disproportionate effect on where you are 5 years from now. People who stay curious, who keep learning, who don't let fear or inertia keep them away from new tools, those people will look back and feel genuinely grateful that they paid attention. Now, let me bring this all together. Don't waste your time. Not in the small ways, the drift, the distraction, the half rest that doesn't actually restore you, and not in the big ways, the months that pass without real progress, without real learning, without moving toward anything. Work hard, play hard. Be fully present in your work. Be fully present in your rest. Separate the two. Honor both. Let each one be what it's supposed to be. And follow what's happening with AI. Not obsessively, not anxiously, but consistently and curiously. Because the world is changing, and you want to be someone who understands what's happening, not someone who wakes up in 2 years wondering why everything feels unfamiliar. There's a question I come back to regularly. I want to share it with you because it's simple, but it cuts through a lot of noise. The question is, am I moving forward or am I just moving? Because being busy feels like progress. Activity feels like progress. But real progress is when you look back after 3 months and you can point to something concrete. I understand this now. I can do this now. I built this. I changed this. Something real that stacks up over time. Movement without direction is just exhaustion. And most people I know are not lazy. They're exhausted. They're doing a lot, but not all of it is taking them anywhere. So be honest with yourself about that question. It's not meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to give you information. And information is the beginning of change. You're here. You're listening. You're working on your English and on yourself at the same time. That already says something about who you are. You're the kind of person who shows up, who invests in themselves, who believes that where you are now is not where you have to stay. That's the whole spirit of Native Echo Podcast. Better English, better thinking, better habits, a better life. Not in some vague future, but built one intentional day at a time. I'm glad you're here. Take care of yourself. And don't waste your time, because you only get it once. See you in the next episode.